for it.
In that case, why don't you apologize for the 1984 riots?
No, so I'm
the congressmen who you are talking about are still fighting their cases. And in 2009, if I'm not mistaken, Jagdish Titler, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, was going to get nominated as a Congress candidate. It was only following the media furor that his nomination was taken back. Mr. Gandhi, I'm asking you this question with all seriousness. Do you feel that congressmen were involved? And two, do you believe that you personally, if you apologize for the riots, there will be a finality?
The fact of the matter is that innocent people died in 1984. And innocent people dying is a horrible thing and should not happen. Okay? The difference between Gujarat and 1984 was that the government of Gujarat was involved in the riots. The government.
How do you say that?
I mean,
the Chief Minister of Gujarat has been given the clean sheet by the courts.
The difference between the 84 riots and the riots in Gujarat was that in 1984, the government was trying to stop the riots. I remember, I was a child then, I remember that the government was doing everything it could to stop the riots. In Gujarat, the opposite was the case. The government in Gujarat was actually abetting and pushing the riots further. So there's a huge difference between the two things. Saying that innocent people dying is absolutely wrong.
Explain that. Government of Gujarat was aiding and abetting the riots, is what you just said. Explain that.
I mean, it's not me. It's large numbers of people who were there. It's large numbers of people who saw actively the government of Gujarat being involved in the riots.
And you keep that line despite the Chief Minister getting a clean sheet from the courts?
I mean, people saw it. I'm not the person who saw it. Your colleagues saw it. Your colleagues told me.
They saw riots. They didn't see the government of Gujarat.
They saw the administration. They saw the administration actively attacking minorities.
Are you saying the government of Gujarat was? What is your accusation?
What I'm saying is that there was a difference between the 1984 riots and the riots in Gujarat. The difference was that the government in 1984 was trying to stop the riots, was trying to stop the killing, whereas the government in Gujarat was allowing the riots.
And if the government in Delhi and in the center was trying to stop the riots in 1984, then tell me, how is it possible that Sajjan Kumar was named in FIRs on grounds of inciting violence in outer Delhi leading to the murder of Sikhs? The status of the case is known. How is Jagdish Titler accused of inciting the mob at Pul Bangash leading to murder and rioting in the area? How is the late HKL Bhagat accused of inciting violence? And you know that appeal in the Delhi High Court was closed after his death. How did these Congress leaders do what they did allegedly if the government was so strongly and proactively acting?
There's a process. There's a legal process, and that process is on.
There was an SIT finding. It was challenged by Zakia Jafri. It went up there, and the courts upheld what the SIT found. Are you questioning the wisdom of the courts, Mr.
All I'm saying is that there is a difference between the 1984 riots and the Gujarat riots. The simple difference is that in 1984, the government was not involved in the massacre of people. In Gujarat, it was. The question is, why do these type of things take place? Why is it that the Gujarat riots take place? The Gujarat riots take place, frankly, because of the way our system is structured. Because of the fact that people do not have a voice in the system. And what I want to do, and I've said it, and I will say it again, what I want to do is question the fundamentals over here. What I want to do is ask a couple of questions. I want to ask why candidates that are chosen in every single party are chosen by tiny number of people. I want to ask why women have to be scared to go out in the street. I want to ask these questions. These are fundamental questions.
I appreciate that. Yeah. You believe in transparency. I'll move away from Gujarat, though I must say that I have not found this comparison between 84 and Gujarat riots, that they are two different cases. I mean, I can't take this at face value, Mr. Gandhi, and the reason for this is because in both cases, the accusation is that the government could have done a little bit more. But at the same time, I want you to, once more, if you can, substantiate. You stand by what you said, that you believe the Chief Minister and the government of Gujarat played a role in abetting the riots? You stand by what you said?
What I'm saying is, there is a difference between the 1984 riots and the Gujarat riots. The difference is that the government of the day in 1984 was not aiding and abetting the riots.
But
that's all I'm saying.
So you don't need to apologize for the 84 riots. If someone seeks an apology from you, will you give it? Your Prime Minister has apologized for the riots, expressed deep regret. Will you do the same?
First of all, I wasn't involved in the riots at all. I mean, it wasn't that I was part of it.
On behalf of your party?
I think the riots were not, as all riots, were a horrible event. Now, frankly, I was not in operation in the Congress party.
Mr. Gandhi, let's move on to the RTI, which is the single biggest legislation to combat corruption, which you said in your speech at the AICC, that was something that you were speaking about. Now, I find it ironical that a party which has 90.38% of its funds from cash between 2008 and 2012, 89.11% of its money in this period comes from unaccounted sources, unnamed sources. Why would you not say charity begins at home and let's put the Congress party and its funds under the scanner of the RTI?
Well, I mean,
why would you not bring the same freshness of perspective in this case as you brought when you dealt with the issue of the ordinance?
I think political parties should be under RTI if political parties feel, and it's a law that has to be passed in Parliament, if political parties unanimously feel that that is the case, it should be the case.
What will be your view on it?
My position is that the more openness, the better.
Your own view, personal view is that political parties should be under the RTI?
The issue is this. Laws in this country are passed by Parliament. What one needs to do is pass a law in Parliament that brings RTI into the political party.
Will the Congress...
I have a personal view on it, but you have to take that view through Parliament. I have a view also, for example, on the 6 bills that are sitting in Parliament.
No, I'll come to that, but my question is on the RTI. I want your view on it. Mr. Rahul Gandhi, you are a very influential politician. You have demonstrated some of your actions in the past that what you say and do can influence decisions in government and in Parliament. So my question to you is very significant. You said that in the AICC, you said, we enacted this revolutionary law to hand you power, knowing fully well that it would place our own government under severe scrutiny. I agree with you. What about placing your own party under scrutiny?
So,
are you open to that?
I am the first person who has been saying over the last 5 years, talking about transparency in the party. I have made the Youth Congress and the NSUI fully elected bodies. Okay. I have spoken about the 6 bills in Parliament. I have spoken about the Lokpal bill, and I have pushed the Lokpal bill. I was involved in the RTI. We worked together to bring the RTI. So, as far as transparency in the political party is concerned, I am absolutely for transparency.
I appreciate
there are questions about the RTI that need to be discussed and thought through. The real question is that our system is based on different pillars, and the question is, which ones of these pillars should have RTI? Because if you only put RTI into one pillar and you don't have RTI in, for example, the judiciary and the press and in other areas, then you might create an imbalance. Am I for opening up? Am I for bringing RTI into as many places as possible? Absolutely. Am I for creating an imbalance and weakening the legislative structures of this country? No, I'm not.
How does placing politicians, how does putting political parties under the purview of the Right to Information Act, how does that actually weaken the legislative process? It brings in transparency.
No, it brings in transparency, but it changes the balance of power.
How?
Because the judiciary does not have RTI, the press does not have RTI, other components of the system do not have RTI.
The press does not rule the country?
No, it doesn't. But the press, okay, the judiciary does not have RTI. So you have to have a complete thinking. So if you want to bring RTI, you want to deepen RTI, you have to think about it in a composite manner. You cannot just say, okay, let's put RTI here, put RTI. You have to have a strategy to put RTI and open the system together. And as far as opening the system is concerned...
But you're willing to let a discussion happen on bringing political parties under the RTI?
Of course I am.
You're not opposed to that?
No, I'm not opposed to any discussion, ever. But
no, on this specific subject?
No, on all subjects. But one has to take care that one is not creating imbalances in the system. And that's something that one has to discuss.
Mr. Gandhi, do I sense that you were almost committing yourself and then pulled back?
No. I've said that I'm happy to have a discussion.
You're happy to have a discussion?
Of course.
on bringing political parties under RTI?
Absolutely.
Okay, Mr. Gandhi.
But let me just go back and let me give you let me go further than that. Okay. The main issue, if you look at the real serious, the central question in all this. The central question in all this is who chooses political candidates and how, right? The central issue in all this is what is the power of the member of parliament, the power of the MLA and the power of the Pradhan in the political system. If you look at the legislative power of a member of parliament, you look at the legislative power of an MLA today, and you look at the role that he plays in parliament and the role that he plays in the assembly, he doesn't actually make laws. He presses buttons. Okay. If you look at, go to a state like Uttar Pradesh and you look at actually the lawmaking, the lawmaking done by the MLAs, extremely limited. You can't talk about bringing people into politics. You can't talk about opening up the system until you start to empower these people.
Understood. Was it part of the empowerment? Was it part of the empowerment of people that Ashok Chavan was protected in the other scam, despite the fact that the Judicial Commission actually said that he was involved in a quid pro quo? A chief minister, an ex-chief minister, forced to go because of one of the biggest scams, which was, by the way, Mr. Rahul Gandhi played out greatly on Times Now, is being protected. The CBI is not getting permission to prosecute him. Why? Now, what is, you can say all this, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, about the legislative framework to fight corruption, but my question to you is more fundamental. You have not shown the political will to use your tremendous influence to ensure that Ashok Chavan faces justice. You said a little bit and you moved back.
What?
Why are you still protecting Ashok Chavan?
I'm sorry, the Congress party, wherever we have had issues of corruption, we have taken action on every front.
No.
We are the ones who brought the RTI, which is the single biggest weapon against corruption, and we got it ourselves. We are the ones who delivered RTI to this country, and it is RTI. No, I'm not.
Your cabinet rejected, your Maharashtra cabinet, you're in power, rejected the Judicial Commission report on Adarsh. Right. You made it, and after that, the governor refused to give prosecution to go against Ashok Chavan. 1 minute, sir. None of this was part of the empowerment of the people. You said you're not for it. After that, in some kind of tardy, if I may say so, partial acceptance of the report, the bureaucrats are blamed, and each and every politician, including Mr. Ashok Chavan, gets away. I want to ask you, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, you said you will not compromise. You will not make small compromises. How big a compromise was it for you to continue to protect Ashok Chavan? Why are you protecting Ashok Chavan?
I made my position on Mr. Ashok Chauhan absolutely clear. I made it in front of a press conference. I made it absolutely clear exactly what I thought about that issue. Let me go back again to the issue at hand. The issue at hand is bringing in youngsters into the political system, opening the doors.
The chief minister sort of did a partial acceptance, which basically means bureaucrats are faulted in the report. They are penalized. Indicted politicians get away. Mr. Rahul Gandhi, I'm asking you this because you've come up on the issue. Do you have the political conviction to push this through? What will you say to the people watching the interview today who will say, you know what, you said it, but you're not taking responsibility. The man still gets away scot-free. Why should a bureaucrat be punished and a Congress politician be let
What
go?
I will say is that in the Congress party, anybody who does any act of corruption will be taken up and punished.
What about Ashok Chavan?
Every single person. Okay.
But he's got
what I will say is that there are 6 bills in Parliament that are sitting there. Bring them in, pass them.
But your words are not matching your actions, Mr. Rahul Gandhi. You are saying it, but yet the politicians, they all got away scot-free, including not just Ashok Chavan, there are several other NCP ministers, all of whom tried to interfere and meddle in the process. They used the name of Kargil, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, to give themselves private profit. If you say this and you have the conviction, why are you not following it through?
I have made it absolutely crystal clear, right in front of the press, what I think about this issue.
But nothing happened.
What do you mean nothing happened?
Ashok Chavan Ashok Chavan faces no action.
Not. What all I'm saying is that anybody, regardless of who he is, if there is any corruption done by any Congress person, we will take action.
Would you like to see Ashok Chavan facing action?
We have punished our own ministers. We have put the most powerful bills in the Parliament House. Please get those bills passed. That's what I tell the opposition.
I'm giving you two examples, one ex-chief minister, one a present chief minister, Veerbhadra Singh. My question to you is, we have papers which have shown that a chief minister takes money from a company which his government does business with, and he takes money, large amounts of money are put in, and then he says, you know, I just took the money as a personal loan because I wanted to do renovations in my palace. My question is, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, and this is really fundamental because you have taken a position of corruption of late. Do you think it is appropriate for another chief minister of a state to be deciding on a fate of a company that he is revealed to have close links with, and by not speaking on it, because you've not spoken on it, aren't you missing on yet another opportunity to address the issue of corruption head-on? Veerbhadra Singh.
As far as any corruption done, there is a legal process, and that legal process should be followed and concluded. As far as my personal view is concerned, anybody who is corrupt should be brought to book. Okay?
Was the legal process completed when A. Raja was asked to leave the cabinet?
We took actions on the DMK ministers. But
was the legal process completed when Mr. Kalmadi was asked to leave as secretary of the Congress Parliamentary Committee?
We took action on the corrupt ministers. We have passed a bill in Parliament, the Lokpal bill, the most powerful thing. We have got RTI, and we've got 6 bills sitting in Parliament House. We have to change the way the system works. We are always talking about peripheral things. We are never talking about the core reason the system is corrupt. The core reason the system is corrupt is because there is too much concentration of power in the system, and people on the peripheries do not have power. The people on the streets do not have power. And the reason that happens is because our political system, our political parties are shut. We need to open the door of the political parties. We need to carry out more legislation like RTI, and we need to change the system.
Are you open to taking action on Ashok Chavan and Veerbhadra Singh? Have you seen the papers yourself? Will you examine it, Mr. Gandhi?
Look.
Will you examine it?
Anybody who is corrupt should be punished. I am not a judge. So if there is a legal process and there is a result of the legal process, absolutely they should be punished. Yes. I'm not a person who...
There's no case being followed up on Veerbhadra Singh. Yeah. There's no case being followed up.
I know that, but I'm saying that it is not my job. Is where I see issues of corruption arising to take action. But that's what I do.
But Mr. Gandhi, now you see,